Today was a historic day in southern Ontario and across the entire North American supply chain.
This bridge is an incredible symbol of the potential and opportunities that await workers and families on both sides of the Detroit River. When we work together across borders, just look at the relationship we enjoy.
People gathered in Windsor, Ontario for the official opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. The Canadian-only ribbon-cutting ceremony took place after decades of planning, political battles, and massive engineering efforts. Our next guest was one of the VIPs at today's event. The Mayor of Windsor, Drew Dilkens, joins me now. Nice to see you, Mayor. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So a cross-border bridge first proposed about 25 years ago is now open. It's been a long and bumpy road to this point. How did it feel to cut that ribbon today, Mayor?
Well, it was great to be on the bridge to celebrate with, I don't know, probably 300 Canadians who all played a part in some way, shape, or form over the last 25 years, getting us to this particular point in time. There was a lot of positive energy, a lot of celebration, and we're all excited to see the Gordie Howe Bridge open for business on Monday.
Was it positive energy because the Americans weren't there? I know this was, supposed to be a big binational celebration, marking the opening of a bridge that was really intended to bind our two countries together. And really what you're seeing is this project is exposing some fault lines in the relationship. Do you think it was the right call to leave the Americans out of this celebration today?
Yeah, absolutely. How would you possibly think of having a genuine celebration with partners from the United States in the same week when their president is launching 50% tariffs one day, 10% tariffs the next day, and continues to degrade Canada every way, shape, or form that he can? It just would be disingenuous for us to do that. So we had a great celebration with all of, I would submit, the right people were there. It was a happy event. And I hope, honestly, that someday in the future we'll be able to close that bridge for an hour or two when the time is right, get everyone to the center, a couple hundred Americans, a couple hundred Canadians, to actually cut a ribbon in the right place and properly celebrate the magnitude of what was built here, $6.4 billion bridge, but also to celebrate the man after who it was named. And Gordie Howe, a proud Canadian, Mr. Hockey, known for his character of respect and integrity and humility, all things that I think character and qualities that we espouse to. And I think, some of our friends on the U.S. side would be lucky to take a page out of his playbook.
President Trump noticed that they weren't invited, of course, the American contingent. He said today it was fine to be left out, but he still teed off on Canada, reminding us that we're facing a huge tariff burden. I guess that's one of the reasons why they've been left out, as you say. What do you say to the president as he kind of weighs in on this?
I think what's really, really critically important in this discussion, and I know it's easy to get mired down in the Truth Social post of the day or what did Donald Trump say 2 hours ago. It took 25 years to build this bridge and to get it all fully constructed, all of the conversation, and it will be standing and supporting commerce for more than 100 years from today. And so let's look at the long game here. Let's play the long game and reflect on the fact that this will mean good things and prosperity for our trading relationship with our largest trading partner. I suspect the United States will always be our largest trading partner. Just today, we have these, say, troubled waters underneath the bridge, but times are going to get better. This is only going to get better from here, and we will outlast, the presidency of Donald Trump, and we will get to better times when the reflection of this bridge and what it means in terms of the connection between our two countries becomes more poignant.
As you mentioned, a $6.4 billion bridge. Canada financed it alone. But to appease the Trump administration, obviously, we've had to come up with a new arrangement, if you will, to share some of the net revenues from this bridge with the Americans and this fund that will be stood up. Do you think it was the right call by the Prime Minister to agree to divvy up those net revenues to get the Americans on board?
I'm really curious to see what those net revenues look like at the end of the day. Not a single car has crossed that bridge yet. And so I think folks need to understand that whether 5 cars cross or 5,000, the operating costs are roughly the same. And so we need to figure out how those traffic patterns flow and how they shift over time. But there is a cost to keeping the bridge closed. There's a cost to opening it and a cost to keeping it closed. And when you keep it closed, you're generating zero revenue. And so the Prime Minister is dealing with an incredibly complex situation with folks on the other side of the border. He found a pathway that he thought made sense. I'm certainly happy to see the bridge open, but I really want to see how much money flows to that U.S. entity that's being set up, because I suspect for the first few years, there will be very few dollars flowing to that Economic Development Fund.
Obviously, there's been legal challenges. There's been a lot of political maneuvering, as we've just been discussing. There's been these delays. Who do you blame principally for this drama? I mean, some fingers are being pointed today at the Maroon family, which owns the neighboring Ambassador Bridge. They have fought this thing tooth and nail from the beginning for really the last 2 decades or so. Do you think that they bear some responsibility for all the headaches that have been associated with the opening of this new bridge?
Well, just follow the money. That's what I can say in this particular case. Follow the money. Who stands to lose economically from the opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge? It may be the private operator of the Ambassador Bridge. And I get it. You know, they own this bridge. They've operated it successfully for a number of years, and they see government coming in and building a redundant bridge for our economic security, and they want to fight that. At the end of the day, we've been through 25 years of consultation, 25 years of work and effort to get to this particular point in time. And we have to remember that the Ambassador Bridge is still an important part of the overall cross-border ecosystem here. This Gordie Howe Bridge was built in large part because we wanted to make sure that we had redundancy in our supply chains. After 9/11, folks were saying, what happens if there's a terrorist event on the Ambassador Bridge? It's the busiest commercial border crossing between our two countries. What do we do? And that, along with another number of other factors, led us to the conversation that got the bridge literally out of the ground and connected on both sides of the border. But it was never intended that the Ambassador Bridge would go away. We still need them as part of this cross-border ecosystem. But I think in this particular case, just follow the money, and all of the answers are very clear.
Yeah, and it's such an impressive piece of infrastructure, this new Gordie Howe Bridge. I mean, 60 inspection lanes in total. Connects right into the Highway 401 in Toronto, I-75 in Michigan. It's going to be quite a seamless experience for both commercial traffic and tourists. It has the potential to really draw in a lot of folks, right? How much traffic do you think it will pull away from the Ambassador Bridge and some of the other crossings in the area?
I think 50% for fun, 50% on day one. And I think what most people need to know, the Ambassador Bridge was built in 1929. And from the end of the 401 to the foot of the Ambassador Bridge, there are about 7 traffic lights that are on a municipal road leading to the foot of the Ambassador Bridge. And so trucks are stopping and starting, literally 7 times if they don't make the cadence of the light system. And so the beauty of the Gordie Howe Bridge, it is a direct, as you mentioned, direct highway to highway connection. It has the most amount of advanced technology built into a border crossing. It will allow for seamless and friction-free crossing for truckers, but also for passenger vehicles. And so for truckers who are looking to save money, and time is money, they will absolutely be choosing the Gordie Howe Bridge because they will clear customs very, very quickly.
So we're talking, if you're thinking 50 to 60% of the traffic, I mean, there was nearly 2 million commercial trucks last year. I think 3.5 million passenger vehicles. That's a lot of traffic being sucked away from that Ambassador Bridge and the family that's created some problems for this country.
Yeah, it definitely will cause a shift in traffic patterns. I think over time, we own the Windsor-Detroit Tunnel as a city. We own our half of the Windsor-Detroit Tunnel, and we expect a shift in the first 6 months as people want to experience the Gordie Howe Bridge. But over time, people will gravitate back to the border crossing that makes the most sense for them. And if they want to go downtown Detroit, the tunnel makes the most sense. If you want to get out to Metro Airport in Detroit, the Ambassador Bridge is likely the most likely option. And then, of course, the Gordie Howe Bridge is the best option if you want to clear quickly and you're going I-75 in southern, I-75 south down to the southern U.S.
Not to end on a sour note, but of course there is a chance things could go awry before this bridge is set to open to traffic on Monday. I know CBSA, I was talking to the border agency, they say they will have officials in place to welcome this traffic. They got hundreds of people ready to go. But with the Trump administration, you just never know, right? How confident are you that traffic will be rolling across the Gordie Howe Bridge next week?
Well, let me just do this and say that I really hope that traffic flows on Monday as expected. The agreements have been signed with the United States. The president has said that, he's satisfied with the agreement. The press release came out from the Prime Minister's office. So I think at the highest level, folks are agreeing. However, to your point, until the first car actually rolls across that bridge and the second car and the third car, I think anything is possible. So let's just wait and see. But they're ready to go on both sides of the border, ready to go, connected to the highway infrastructure. And we're very, very excited for Monday and the first car going across the bridge.
All right, let's leave it there. Drew Dilkens, Mayor of Windsor. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Canadian officials went ahead with the grand opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge today without the presence of their previously invited American counterparts.
Where we stand today is truly one region. It is a place of 2 nations, with a shared community. And this iconic bridge, and man, it's a nice looking bridge. It really is. Stands as a symbol of our promise to future generations. We are investing in infrastructure that enables resiliency and improves the secure and efficient movement of people and goods for decades and decades to come.
Michigan State Senator Stephanie Chang joins me now. Nice to see you, Senator. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So after a long and sometimes arduous battle, it seems the Gordie Howe Bridge will finally open to traffic, at least on Monday. What does this mean for the people in your district and for Michigan as a whole?
Well, it's an exciting day. This bridge has been many years and, in fact, decades in the making. And Michiganders and Americans, and especially Detroiters and folks in Southwest Detroit, are excited about this finally taking place. Michigan and Ontario have a special connection, a special friendship. As someone who is proud to be a Detroiter and live in Detroit, who crosses over to Windsor quite often, very much recognize how important our shared relationship is and our shared friendship. So again, just so thrilled that the bridge will finally be open.
This was supposed to be a big, bi-national celebration with officials from both sides there today to cut the ribbon, to mark what is really a momentous occasion in our cross-border relationship. But as you know, the Canadians essentially scrapped that joint celebration following President Trump's latest tariff threats. What's your reaction to this decision to go it alone on cutting the ribbon?
Yeah, again, for me, the main thing is that the bridge is finally going to be open. I think it would have been obviously preferred that it would be a bi-national event earlier today, but that wasn't the case. Ultimately, again, I'm just focused on the fact that we're going to be able to have this bridge finally be open and bring about the economic benefits, as well as just strengthening the relationship between both countries is so important right now. And again, just recognizing also so many of the people who live in the neighborhoods where the bridge is landing on both sides of the border have really seen so much over the past few decades related to this ongoing saga. And so the fact that this is finally happening is the main thing. So I'm trying to not get distracted by the fact that we got disinvited, and more so focus on the fact that the bridge is finally open. Will be open on Monday.
One of the reasons why that was scrapped as well is because we had to go back to the drawing board on the toll situation. As you know, President Trump kind of forced us to redo the revenue sharing deal. Now Canada has to share 50% of the net revenues from the tolls that are collected for the first 15 years and put it into this fund that's controlled by the Trump administration in part. What do you make of this last-minute maneuvering? The Prime Minister in this country is facing some heat here, giving Canada alone finance the bridge.
Yeah, I will remind folks all day, every day that Canada paid for the bridge, and this was a great deal. And the fact that now there's a renegotiated deal, I was not involved in that, and I definitely recognize that the delays shouldn't have happened in the first place. But I'm just trying to stay focused on the fact that we're here now. Finally, the bridge will get open. I think many of the decisions that have been made by President Trump and his administration have not been in the best interest of Americans and are a really important relationship and friendship with Canada. And so it's really unfortunate. But again, the fact that the bridge will finally be open is a great step. And I hope that we can use that as an opportunity to continue to build this important relationship.
The Maroon family, which owns the neighboring Ambassador Bridge, has opposed this project from the very beginning, as I think you know. There was a lawsuit, there's been lobbying, an aggressive campaign to shut it down. The New York Times has also reported there was a phone call between Matthew Maroon and the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick just before Trump, first threatened to stymie this bridge. What do you make of what the Maroon family has done to try and block this bridge from going ahead?
Well, unfortunately, this has been an ongoing story, and residents on both sides of the Detroit River know all too well how devastating the Maroon family and their related companies have been to the neighborhoods surrounding the Ambassador Bridge and beyond. And so, it's unfortunate that they're whether it's the financial contributions or other levels of power and influence they have used have been unfortunately negatively impacting both Detroiters and Canadians. But again, Monday and today, important things to celebrate. Just happy that the bridge is finally open. And I think it's a really, it speaks to how important, again, our relationship truly is.
President Trump, is promising to hit more Canadian goods with a 50% tariff in a month's time. In the Oval Office today, he promised a big tariff on Canada over the wildfire smoke. Canadians really feel under siege, frankly, at this point, as the president wages this tariff war. Senator, what's your message to Canadians who feel like the bilateral relationship has really been left in tatters after months of these sort of attacks?
Yeah, again, I think that it's so important that we continue to build this important bilateral relationship. I'm proud to be a part of that and grateful for the fact that the bridge is finally open. The tariff decisions that have been made at the federal level have been incredibly unpredictable and honestly really damaging. And we hear that all the time from our residents and farmers and others across, the automotive sector and others. So I think that I would hope that our federal administration, especially on a day like today, will change course and at least offer some more predictability. I think that our own consumers deserve that. Our international partners deserve that. Our leaders in various segments of our economy, need that. So. Again, thanks for the opportunity to be on with you, and today's a good day.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you so much, Michigan State Senator Stephanie Chang. Appreciate your time.